Yo, what's going on, everybody? If y'all are watching this, this is part 2 of why is my truck overheating. So, we took it for a test drive this morning and ended up blowing the heater core line off the truck. It was running good up until then. So, I don't know why that happened. I don't know. Maybe the radiator cap is bad and it didn't allow the pressure to go to the overflow tank, and it's wind is something, or you know, who knows. Anyway, what we're about ready to do is we're going to pull the thermostat out of this thing, and that wind is really blowing. Try and get over here where the wind ain't so bad. What we're about ready to do is pull the thermostat out of this thing. Just for laughs, we're going to throw it in a pot of water and see if it opens. But ultimately, I'm going to yank the guts out of this thermostat and stick it back in the truck, so that way it's just open all the time. And we're going to see what happens then. Also, well, we'll see what happens with that. We'll yank the guts out of it and see if it runs properly before we go to talking about all kinds of drastic measures. So anyway, let's go do that right quick. All right, y'all. This is a thermostat housing. So to take the thermostat out, you just got 3 bolts to take out. One here, and one right there. So we'll take them out right quick. Get this thermostat out. I don't think that I'm really going to need to worry about draining coolant. I'm pretty certain that there's enough of it that ran out of this thing whenever that hose popped off earlier, that probably not going to leak a bunch of coolant everywhere. But I've been wrong before, so we shall see. Feel like I say that a lot. We shall see, because you just never know. Alright, there that is. You can see right here is the thermostat. Just wiggle it out of there. Here it goes. Got her wiggled out. Here's the thermostat. Let's go throw it in a pot of water, see if it opens. Alright, so here we are in the kitchen. Test these thermostats. This is the one that I just pulled out of the truck. This is one that I bought earlier. I'm going to end up cutting the guts out of this one so I can put it in the truck without having a thermostat, but I have to have this body or otherwise you can't get the housing to seal. But just out of curiosity, I want to see if this thing is opening at the correct temperature or if it had to run up higher to make it open. This is the brand new one. Figured I might as well test it while I'm here. So to test this, we're just going to throw them in this pot of water, turn the stove on, and we're just going to keep an eye on it. And they're both 190 degree thermostats, so whenever the water gets over to here temperature, they ought to start opening. So we're going to keep an eye on them and see when they open. Okay, I'm going to call that 190 degrees. They ought to be starting to open. We're rolling up on 200, getting pretty close. Looks like this one's starting to open. So is this one. That one's starting to open too. Stand it up, maybe you can see it a little bit better. There's a little gap in there. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but same with this one. We're at 200 right now. They're opening up. Both of them are. right at 200 degrees, just a little over. Try to flip it over so that way you guys can maybe see it. There you go. Right here where the end of this probe is, that's the part that opens. You can see there's a little gap right here. I can stick the probe through it. We do it from the top side right here, you can see. That's the part of the thermostat that opens, allows water to go through. You can get me a pair of tongs, that'll make this a little bit easier. They both seem to be opening pretty good. It might have been just a few degrees over what they call for, but nothing too crazy. I mean, we're sitting just over 200 right now. It's starting to boil pretty good. But they're both open. This is the new one, this is the old one. Alright, so now what I'm going to do with this old thermostat is I'm going to cut it apart, take all these guts out of it. That way it's just an open hole. And then I'm going to put it back in the truck. So just cut it apart with these dikes here. Pretty stout. Cut this other one. This piece is probably going to try to go flying. So, try to hold it together best we can. There it is. Alright. Here's the guts of the thermostat. Right there. And this is the outer housing. And I need this to seal because there's a rubber piece. Let me go grab it real quick. This little rubber piece right here. This is the gasket, or the seal, if you will. And it's split. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's split so it fits over this. So you can't just put this in the housing, it'll leak. You got to have this piece as well. So now we can go outside, put this back in the truck, and there's no thermostat. It's just free flow. As soon as you start it up, it'll just start pumping coolant. Doesn't matter what the temperature of the coolant is. So you'll never build heat like this. It'll stay cold all the time, but it's going to allow us to run some other tests. So we can go do that right quick. All right, y'all. This isn't the most ideal situation, but light is fading fast, and we're just trying to do what we can to get by. So here's the thermostat housing. There's the thermostat that we gutted earlier. Put this back down here. Get the bolts put back in it. So the reason why we are doing this, and I regret to even say that this is why we're doing this, but this coolant system keeps getting a lot of pressure in it, and that makes me a little nervous because where is this all coming from? Is it just trapped air? If it is trapped air, how come I can't get the air out? You know what's going on? It's kind of got a few symptoms of a possible blown head gasket. So I'm going to run a test on it to see if there's combustion gases inside of the coolant. But in order to do that, you need to have the vehicle up to temperature so that when the thermostat's open, allowing coolant to flow from the engine into the radiator so that way you can test it. Well, I can't build enough heat in the truck just sitting here idling in order to run that test because I can't get the thermostat to open. So what we did here was we just stripped the guts out of the thermostat so that way it flows all the time, regardless of engine temp, and hopefully then that'll allow us to test that out. So we're gonna add some coolant to it to bring it back up at least full enough that it can circulate coolant decently, and then I guess we're just gonna run the test. I'm a little bit leery, but it's got to be done. We need to figure out what's going on, so let's get after it. I also bought another new radiator cap. Once again, I don't really think that this radiator cap is necessarily the cause. I think if anything, a new radiator cap would be stiffer than this one because this one's used. You'd think that they'd wear down over time, but I don't really know. Try just about anything at this point in time, so let's go get some coolant, put some coolant in it, see what we got going. All right, let's add some coolant to it. We don't want the coolant level completely full. If it's completely full, then we'll suck coolant back up into the tester, and we don't want to do that. So I'm just going to put a little bit in it for now. We'll start it up and see what it does. Hopefully it doesn't overflow. All right, here's the tester. Here's the solution. For those of you who don't know, you put this stuff inside of here, fill it up to that line, and this is blue. If it turns yellow in a gas engine, that means you got combustion leaking. If it turns green in a diesel, you got combustion products leaking by. Just to go prove that this actually works, we're gonna go stick it in front of the exhaust pipe and see if it does anything. You guys can see that, but there it is. It has turned a greenish looking color. So it's working. Evidently there must not be anything inside this radiator. Yo, what's up everybody? we're back out here for what I can only hope is the final night of messing with this stuff. So tonight we're gonna I grabbed the wrong socket. I tell you what. Hold on. I'll be right back. All right, so as I was saying, back out here for what I can only hope is the final night of messing with this. We are going to put this other thermostat in it and fill it full of coolant. We're gonna fill it up until it runs out of the bleeder over here. And then once it does that, we're gonna put the cap back on the radiator. I put the new cap on it. So hopefully that'll do the trick. We'll take it for a little test drive and see. That little black plastic piece in the back, I'll show you guys here in just a minute in case you might have missed it, but I checked it because it popped off the other day, and I don't know what caused it to pop off. I think it was just kind of a freak deal. I don't really know, but anyway, get this thermostat changed out right quick and we'll be on our way. All right, that took off about 3 minutes. No time at all. I'm gonna save this just in case we need this again sometime. I hope that we don't. Boy howdy, I really hope that we don't. Let me go get some coolant, get the camera moved around so where you can see what we're doing a little bit better, and we're gonna top this thing off with coolant and fire it up and see what happens. Okay, well, I don't really know how well you guys are gonna be able to see this. It's really hard to do this when it's this dark outside, but we're gonna try to make do. So here's my new radiator cap. Not from Napa, because apparently the Napa ones don't even make it through the first time of removing them. Let me get up here, take this loose. My hands are frozen. It is about 10 degrees outside. Seems pretty par for the course. Stuff never happens when it's sunny and 75. There it is. All right, so we just made it outside of town. Coolant is at 123. There's a little bit of heat coming out of the vents, which is a good sign, but That also happened the other day, and then the whole thing blew apart. So I'm not going to get my hopes up quite yet. I thought it was about 10 degrees. Dash says 15. I don't really know which one it is, but I don't have a cold weather front on the truck or anything in front of the radiator, so it's building heat kind of slow. But I'll update you guys here in a little bit, let you know how it's going. All right, it's the moment of truth. We've made it about 5 or 6 miles outside of town now, going down the highway, and we're at 188 degrees, 190. Just hit 190. So let's see. Is it going to keep climbing, or is it going to hold? It's 192. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw the coolant get up to 196, 198, you know, and during the time while the thermostat was trying to open, but it shouldn't be spiking up into the 200s. There's 194. $195. Back down to 194, 192, 190, 188, 186, 185. That's what I was doing the other day, bouncing around a whole bunch. 183. All right, we're pulling back into town. This is about where the radiator hose blew off the other day, so let's see if we can make it back to the house without anything. I'm definitely curious to pop the hood and take a look at it and see how much coolant made it out of the radiator into the reservoir. So unless anything crazy happens, we'll see you when we get to the house. All right, we made it back to the house. Everything looks good. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but that coolant reservoir has came up a little bit. It was down at the minimum, and now it's in between the minimum and maximum. I expected it to push some coolant out. It's not really that big of a deal. These coolant lines here going into the coming back out of the, that one's come out of the turbo, I guess. Anyway, they don't feel too hard, nothing crazy. The upper radiator hose down here, you can't see very good. It's pretty stiff. I can squeeze it, but it's definitely pretty stiff. But heater core lines are stiff. Everything seems to be okay for now. So we'll let it sit overnight, and in the morning I'll come out here and check it and see if you know, if everything's working properly, then there shouldn't be that much pressure on it in the morning. It might have even sucked a little bit of coolant back from the coolant reservoir. I don't know. But tonight was a good test drive. However, I don't really think that we can base this upon just tonight. I think that this is going to take days or maybe even weeks of driving it, and just to see how it acts. Especially being that we drove it from Illinois to Kansas, and then from Kansas all the way to Iowa, and we were pulling a fifth wheel from Iowa to Kansas. So before anything even happened. So I think we're just going to have to drive it a little bit, see what happens. This was a successful test drive. I would definitely call this a success. However, I don't think that we can base this just off of tonight's drive, especially being that everything was fine. You know, we had worked on the coolant system when we were at home over Christmas, and we drove from Illinois all the way to Kansas, and then from Kansas all the way to Iowa. And the trip from Kansas to Iowa, we were pulling a fifth wheel with it and never had a problem. We get to Iowa, the truck sets for a few days, and now all of a sudden we have a problem. So I'm not sold on this yet. We're going to drive her for a couple of days or maybe even a couple of weeks and see how it reacts, and then we'll we'll decide whether or not it's fixed. But for right now, this seems like it's good fix. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. I will, I guess, give you guys an update at some point in time. Hopefully it's good news. Let's keep our fingers crossed about this. I'm tired of fighting with this thing. But anyway, I know that this video is going to be kind of hodgepodge together, you know. This was filmed over the course of multiple days and coming home from work and working on stuff, and it's probably was a little bit of a weird video. But anyway, if you made it this far, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Like I said, hopefully we got this fixed. This has been a pain. If you liked what you see here, like, comment, subscribe, hit that little bell notification. That way it lets you know whenever I post a new video. We're going to try to keep uploading content weekly around here. So if you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down and leave me a comment and tell me what you didn't like about it. But anyway, until next time, peace.